Okay, so I ended up having the week off due to some strange circumstances, but I was able to work on the game quite a bit, and I made okay use of the time. I didn't do, wasn't super productive, but I did get some more systems implemented, and cleaned up some other stuff, fixed some bugs and stuff like that. I probably won't be able to cover them all because I was just doing random stuff. I would go about trying to address one issue, see another issue, get to work on that, and then I was just all over the place and ended up making quite a few little changes and some bigger changes. So I adjusted the crafting system a little bit. I was having an issue where my percentages weren't working correctly, and I needed to round like strength and dex and int and all that. I want them to be whole numbers, and like percent increase cast power here. That can be a float rounded to two values, but that I got that working now. You can see I can add cast power. I got a 6 and the roll was 1 to 12, so I got 6. That all updates correctly. If I re-roll it a bunch, 11, that updates correctly. So that's all working, and then I can wear that just fine. And the big thing is the action camera, I guess. So when you cast out, it will follow the lure, and when you reel in, if a fish sees it, which that fish just saw it and now he grabbed it, so he's on the line. And he's running away, and that's just where I'm at now. I need to basically finish up the fishing mini games that are gonna occur when the fish is on. But I also added if I press Shift and R, it resets. So now I don't have to jump out every time I want to make a small change or whatever. So that's convenient. I have utility function. So I made this function, and this is where I'm doing all the rounding. So I can pass in an attribute type and a value, and then I can use this function to correctly round that value. Not this, as with all of these, this is just the best system that I've come up with. And if anybody has suggestions, I'm definitely open to them. But this is good enough for now. You can see I've got a bunch of references here. So if I go over here, my attribute modifier now. Also, this is a really, really cool thing. I bought Odin Inspector and Validator a while ago and never really made use of them, but now I have. So I redid the attribute modifier class. I took out the property struct that I was using because I was really only doing that to make this portion over here more readable. But with Odin Inspector, you can do a lot of cool stuff, which I have done here. So now when I add a craftable affix, I can just give it a tag. The value will display it over here as read only in case I need to see that. And then I can define a min and max, all the regular values in the allowed items, and I can just put that in the properties fold out menu, I think this is called. So now same kind of flexibility for me to add stats with somewhat decent ability to look over everything, just using Odin Inspector instead, which is nicer because now min and max is on one line, with the type, and then these are on their own line, and then my allowed item is below. So that was really cool, and this is how I implemented that. really cool tool, Odin Inspector. A lot of people suggested it, and I never used it until now, but I definitely see the utility with it now. I changed some of these to getters and setters, and this should, the way I have things set up here, should, using the utility function, should have any place that I'm displaying these values be correct. And then I also did it in attribute as well, I think. I fixed attribute type. I think attribute type is an attribute, yeah. So I fixed the calculate final value for my purposes, and now my percentages, I just input them as whole numbers, and then I appropriately just divide by f, and then that also works for my multiplicative values, or my more values, and then that should all function correctly. But I haven't really implemented this fully yet, so, or tested it, for that matter. I set up some events and removed some events. My player now, oh, also I did, this is kind of cool, I'll show you this. I just have a little warning display now, making use of the tooltip instance. So if I try to cast something, no fishing pole equipped, so now you get a little warning message, and I can determine where I want that to show up. So anything in game that I want to show an alert for, it'll happen over here, and this is kind of messy, but no space for new item, and it shows me where. So again, over here too, no space for new item, and I'm just getting that message on my inventory here, and same over here, no space, no space, no space. So I can adjust that, and it's just a quick little thing that I threw in there, and all I did for that was tooltip. I made a little warning prefab to display, and now I can use the tooltip class to show warning, and I pass in the text I want to display, the source of the object, which is how I'm calculating the position, but I can also set that over here as well with a different one, and then show warning, instantiate warning prefab. Well, there's a script there, warning display here. Yeah, so I don't need that. So basically, when I pass in a game object, I try to get the rect transform, and then I handle the positioning a little different with that. And if it's not a rect transform, then I handle that position differently, and I do world to screen point, and that seems to be working okay. A quick little coroutine to display it with the animation image, which is just a wholly another image, which will flash a little bit, and then after 1 second that stops flashing, and then it'll fade out here. So cool little thing that I implemented, and yeah, there's some other stuff that I changed and fixed and adjusted to. Mostly it was a lot of the oh yeah, I was also having equipable item. So I've got a couple of different events firing off here with equipable items, and I ended up doing in my update item data, now I just fire off the stats change, and my stats weren't updating in certain locations correctly, but this change over here, now every time I update item data, I also just fire off this event, and then any subscribers go ahead and run what they need to run and update things correctly. Nothing too crazy updated here. For the fish, all I'm doing for that is I can cast a lure, the action camera. This was kind of weird too. I'm using the Cinemachine, and I don't know if I like it, but I'm trying to just use it because I have it. But so I have my world camera and my action camera, and then for my action display, I set up a new canvas, so my action camera display is over here. The camera display is just, I'm rendering that the action camera texture to a texture, a render texture, and then feeding that into this raw image here. And then the background, I just, simple little whatever. So I'm just toggling that on and off when certain events happen, and I'm doing that over action camera display, UI scripts. I don't know, over here, yeah, actually in camera display. So when I spawn the lure, I subscribe to that on start, obviously, and then when I spawn the lure, I show the camera, and when the lure gets destroyed, then I'll hide the camera, and that is action camera. I thought I had a little switch statement here. I think I took that out because I was doing player, or no, that's in my world camera now. Switch statement. Yeah, so I also do that little offset to make space on the screen for the action camera. So when I'm in idle, it or when the event for state change, player state change occurs, then if I'm idle, I set it to base offset, and if I'm charging the cast, then I do the fishing offset. So I could clean this up and make this implementation a little better, but it's good for now. And just a little coroutine to move the camera smoothly as opposed to just instantly snapping it to wherever. I'm also changing I think I was changing the no, I'm doing that over here. I'm changing the oh, I guess not. Is it camera display then? Oh no, it's action camera. Yeah, over here. So I changed the dampening. So I was getting a weird result when I would spawn the lure. The camera would hurry up and try to like lerp over to where it needs to go, and that looked a little shaky. And that was because I had dampening on initially, but I found by turning them off initially and then setting the follow target, and then the camera locks into that place, and then I turn the dampening on. So when the lure's moving, you actually it's a little better representation that the lure is flying through the air or whatever. And then this is also working fine for when the fish grabs it and stuff. So the fish, I'm just using colliders on trigger enter. Fish controller over here. So on trigger enter, I have my lure tagged as lure, and my fish tagged as fish. I was trying a couple different ways. Where is my lure controller? Attribute game. I think it's just in scripts. Yeah, lure controller. So yeah, I was trying a couple different ways to do the collisions. It's still like confusing to me to use trigger or not to use trigger, but I guess you could just use it on whatever, or at least that's my current understanding. But when the fish controller, when it interacts with the when it enters the collider, when it enters the trigger of the lure, then I fire off an event, or no. No. So I just added some variables on the lure. So if it's already being chased, then don't do this, and if the fish can't chase, then also don't do this, because I wanted to have a little bit of a cooldown so that the same fish isn't continuously trying to like hogging the lure. Basically, the fish is going to try to grab the lure, and for now he's got 2 seconds to try to grab the lure. Or no, 3 seconds to try to grab the lure, and then the lure's open to be grabbed again. But I could do a couple different things, and I'm not sure where I'm going to land on that. I could have multiple fish try to chase the lure, and then the first one who gets it, or whatever. But just set this up. This was one of the last things that I was doing. So now I have a little chase coroutine over here. So he's got 3 seconds to try to grab it, and I'm just setting the target position to the lure position, adjusting the rotation. I give him a little bit of a speed boost here to try and get that lure. And if he gets close enough, and I have a little mouth position game object it's just a transform, really empty game object. On the fish, which I can dynamically set that, and that's why I set it up as a mouth position and not just the fish position. So just for it to make a little more sense when the fish, if he were to get the lure, he wouldn't get it with his tail or the middle of his body, he'd get it with the mouth or whatever. So if that position, and I'm doing this distance check, but it's not happening like a lot, it's just happening while the fish is chasing. So if the distance is below this threshold here, which a couple of magic numbers in here, which I'll clean up later, probably. If the distance value is less than that, then I just change state to hooked. And when he's hooked, then I change the player's real target to be the fish object. So the fish is going to try to be swimming away, and the player's going to be trying to reel him in. And I hide the visuals of the lure target, and then instead of making it inactive, that way I can continuously update it. And I don't have to change the action camera target. It's now still following active lure dot transform position equal this. Yeah, so I could do that for the mouth. Maybe I will do that. But the action camera is still following the lure, which is fine. And then the fish is setting the lure's position here. So that's kind of where things are at now. The fish is going to grab it. He grabs it, and then the fish is on the line, and you can still try to reel in, but I'm going to have a couple mini games occur to hook the fish, and then when you're fighting the fish, that's going to be kind of a separate thing that's happening. But that's pretty much where I'm at. I think that was all that I adjusted. I changed some of the UI and placement just to account for the camera showing up and displaying. I changed, I used to have some messages pop up here telling me to change. A lot of these things I found better ways to do since they were implemented, like how I was doing the swim bounds and the fish bounds and all that. I made changes to that. The swim bounds is now not a water. It's still tagged as fishable water, which is fine. I can change that tag or whatever. But the actual fishable water, that is also tagged as fishable water here. Which I don't think that's causing any issues, but it might be. Could change that to swim bounds or something. But I also, instead of this wall over here, I just made this shore. So when the lure interacts with the shore, it destroys itself. And then that will exit. That's an event. Also, I've got player. These are just events up here, I believe. On lure destroyed, yeah. So all I do there is I just switch my player state back to actionable, and then that will change him to idle or run, depending on what I'm pressing. And then this instance, active lure. Oh yeah, I set this. Down here. So when I spawn the lure, I subscribe to its on water enter event and its on lure destroyed event. And I should be unsubscribing up there, I think. No, I need to unsubscribe there. So can I do that? Active lure dot on. I need to unsubscribe. So that's down here. Lure controller, so I just need to grab that component. On lure destroyed. I'm not setting it to null, but it is getting destroyed. spoke that first and then I destroyed. That should work fine. Oops. Minus equal. Yeah, okay, so that should be fine. I think that's the bulk of what I changed. A lot of little adjustments here and there. During some of the other testing, I realized that I was calling things a lot more often than I needed to. The current move speed here was calling when I do that, and I was getting a max move speed value. So all my attributes. When I would do this, right, when I would try to get it, it was calling all of these. Value change, you know, it's constantly checking all of these things, and this was happening in update in some places. So while I was trying to fix the attributes displaying in the affixes displaying correctly, I realized that was going on, so I fixed that in a couple of different locations. So things should be a little smoother now. Made more use of events, and feel like it's in a better spot than it was, at least. And nothing's broken. I didn't made a bunch of changes and nothing broke, so that's always a win. Yeah, I don't think I'm doing anything else too crazy. I don't know what that is. So the next step is just going to be implementing the mini games, getting the fishing battle up and working, and then I'll try to add some skills, and then I need I guess the plan is to get the fishing battle thing working, put a couple skills in, get the skill system working, and get, you know, catching a fish, getting EXP, maybe some drops or whatever, a fishing log, and then after all that, I have no excuse to keep procrastinating on implementing the save load system. So I'm really like, not having it is slowing me down with testing and everything. But I'm just worried. I'm worried about implementing it. I've not done it before, and I'm just concerned that it's going to cause some headaches. So I'm trying to do all these other things first, because I think that they would be more fun and maybe not give me a headache. But anyway, that's where things are at now, and I'll see you next time, I guess.